The way that you would learn a martial art. In a martial art, you would practice the white belt skills as long as necessary, and only when you've mastered it, you would move on to become a yellow belt. It's the way that you would learn a musical instrument. You practice the basic piece over and over again, and only when you've mastered it, you go on to the more advanced one. But what we point out, this is not the way that a traditional academic model is structured, the type of academic model that most of us grew up in. In a traditional academic model, we group students together, usually by age and around middle school age and perceived ability, and we shepherd them all together at the same pace. And what typically happens, let's say we're in a middle school pre-algebra class and the current unit is on exponents. The teacher will give a lecture on exponents, then we'll go home, do some homework. The next morning we'll review the homework, then we'll get another lecture, homework. That'll continue for about 2 or 3 weeks, and then we get a test. And on that test, maybe I get a 75%, maybe you get a 90%, maybe you get a 95%. And even though that test has identified gaps in our knowledge, I didn't know 25% of the material. Even the A student, what was the 5% they didn't know? Even though we've identified those gaps, the whole class will then move on to the next subject. Probably a more advanced subject that's going to build on those gaps. It might be logarithms or negative exponents. And that process continues, and you immediately start to realize how strange this is. I didn't know 25% of the more foundational thing, and now I'm being pushed to the more advanced thing. And this will continue for months, and it'll continue for years, all the way to at some point I might be in an algebra class or a trigonometry class, and I hit a wall. And it's not because algebra is fundamentally difficult, or because the student isn't bright. It's because I'm seeing an equation and they're dealing with exponents. Something. It doesn't mean that you have a C branded in your DNA somehow. It means that you should just keep working on it. You should have grit. You should have perseverance. You should take agency over your learning.
本视频是2016年，也就是可汗在做教育12年之后，他又登上了 TED 的讲台。作为一个12年的一直在第一线的老教师，他又给我们什么建议呢？他的建议只有一条。要真正掌握知识，而不是为了考分去学习。看来不只是在中国，全球都是一样的，很多是为了考分，并没有真正的掌握。上面节选的一段，可汗指出了现在教育体制存在的问题。他说，好的方式应该是像学习跆拳道或者是乐器一样，达到了一个级别，再进到下一个级别。但是现在的教育是做不到的，因为现在人们要学习的知识太多了，老师跟学生也是1对多的关系。学生就像工业流水线上的批量化生产一样，不管前面的有没有学好，都是被迫进入下一个阶段，这是无奈之举，无法像中国的春秋时代孔子对待72弟子一样，面对面的答疑解惑，一一讨论。所以如果教育资源够的话，其实每一个学生都可以成才，有的学得慢一点，有的学得快一点，但是学得慢绝不是缺点。那么我们应该怎么办呢？如果学生前面没有掌握好，可汗学院的视频就是很好的补充，可以自己在课下反复看没有掌握的知识点，这时候就不要去刷题了，找出没有掌握的点，把它真正掌握了是最重要的。